interested with U.S. immigration? Can Donald Trump give you a green? Hey guys, before you file for your spouse, hey guys, come on in. Type in freedom now, freedom now. It's Saturday afternoon, and I'm Latoya McBean Pompey, an immigration lawyer in New York, working with clients nationwide at McBean Law, where we believe in freedom. Say hello and say freedom now. This is a workshop. We're going to have a workshop today, guys. It's one of those times, one of those moments where we've got to come together and just have a workshop to discuss solutions, not fear, solutions today. Millions of people are losing their lawful status. Many more will be losing their lawful status this summer with TPS ending, with parole ending. So much is going on. And I know a lot of you are really concerned about what's next. What do I do next? What do I do next, right? When your lawful status is ending. And so we're going to have a workshop discussion about what you should be doing, what you should be working on, what you should be thinking about, how our system works. This is an education session, okay? Workshop where we're going to talk about how you can keep lawful status in the United States. This is about solution today, not about fear. Okay, so just pull up a chair. If you're driving, drive safely. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being live with me on this Saturday where I did not wake up with the intention of doing this. Trust me, I did not. I had other things on the agenda. And in fact, I just filmed a terrific video for you guys that's going to go out next week on YouTube and everywhere about naturalization fraud and how through naturalization fraud, which is a criminal offense, it leads to automatic revocation of citizenship. So stay tuned for that video. I filmed it today for you guys, okay? And so I said, okay, I have other things I'm going to work on, but I sat there and I was like, Lord, what should I do? What should I do next? What should I do? And I set aside my list of things to do because I thought I've got to talk with you guys about lawful status, how to stay in the United States in a lawful status, because many of you are facing a very, very difficult time right now. Okay. Double tap the screen if you're joining on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Just give me some hearts, give me some nice energy today, all right, as we go through this together. And I will certainly be answering some questions for you as well, okay? Now, if your lawful status is ending, friends, it could be very, very, very scary, very, very fearful, right? Particularly when you see what's happening today with ICE crackdown, when you see all of the craziness that we all see every day on TikTok and the aggression and the lack of due process that's happening, that's not happening, right? Lack of due process, I should say, in our courtroom and and just in everyday living. We see that the government is doing a lot of scrupulous things, and you might be very afraid because your status is ending and they haven't targeted you directly quite yet because you're in lawful status. But what's going to happen come August, Haitians, right? I'm very concerned about the Haitian community who I really believe the Trump administration is going to target Haitians once TPS is over. Haiti is already on the travel ban, the full suspension, and there's no reason for that. But they've just drilled down on the Haitian community, and it's really disturbing. So I'm really thinking about the Haitian community today, the Venezuelan community. You're losing TPS. So many people are Cameroonians. So many people are facing this issue right now. in addition to those of you who lost your parole status as well. Now, the first question that you really need to think about as you brainstorm, what am I going to do next to stay in the United States in a lawful status, is you have to ask yourself the question, and you guys won't be able to see it right, but how did I enter into the United States? Huge, huge, huge question. How did I enter? Because the way that you entered, friends, really will determine where you go next, okay? With respect to getting a lawful status. How did I enter the United States? Did I enter lawfully through a process that our laws created or the government constructed, a parole process to allow you to enter lawfully? Or did I enter the United States unlawfully? Okay? Lawfully or unlawfully, because what happens next truly, truly, truly depends on your answer to this question. Now, to drill down a little bit further, if you entered lawfully, well, what type of lawful entry did I come through, right? Did I come through a visa application process and I was inspected at JFK or Newark International Airport or LAX, right? Was I inspected? And by the way, was it my passport? Okay, and that gets into a whole nother issue. But was I inspected with a passport in my name? Or did I come in on a CBP1 app? Or did I enter through a humanitarian parole that was created in recent years? Okay. And then, guys, along with this whole issue is, well, if I was not inspected, just so you know, if you were not inspected, if you did not enter lawfully, you will not be able to adjust your status. Most people will not be able to adjust their status. There are exceptions to this, okay? Exceptions such as if you're a victim of domestic violence and you had entered without lawful inspection, our law does allow you to adjust your status. If you have a certain member of your family who's in the military and you're approved for military parole in place, which is discretionary, it's not guaranteed, and some people are denied of this parole, then you might be able to adjust your status. So, did I enter lawfully or did I enter unlawfully? What type of entry did I have? And then, I have I have my notes scribbled here, so bear with me. Along with the whole entry issue is when I entered, did they place me in removal right away? Did they place me in deportation court telling me that I've got to show up in court or show up at some ICE office in Manhattan and then they're going to fill out paperwork and send me to court? I mean, what happened, right? Are you in removal? Did they place you in removal right away or not? That also will get into what type of options you might have or not have. Now, the second big issue is this. The second issue is this. Um, how long have I been in the United States? How long have I been in the United States? Am I a recent, have I just been here for a year, 2 years, right? 10 years, 15 years? How long have I been in the United States? Because this tied in with you being in removal and then having certain family relationships can make a huge difference for you with being able to have a lawful status transition into another lawful status here called a permanent residency status. How long have I been here? This is so important now, guys. Why is this length of stay so important? It's so important because the government is making a very strong argument to sweep a lot of people into the bucket called expedited removal. If you've been in the United States under 2 years, that is the intent. Although, as I've been sharing with you, the American Immigration Lawyers Association and the publication that we've shared with you that they want lawyers to share with everyone does say that if you entered with one of the parole humanitarian parole entry process under Biden or the CBP1 app as well, that if you've stayed here a little longer than 2 years, then they're still also targeting you for this expedited fast track deportation. This expedited removal process is in place right now, and it is happening to some people. So, how long you've stayed in the United States so far will determine how much longer you get to stay, so to speak. Okay. And then it also ties into what option you might have. So, for instance, if you've been here for a very long time, at least 10 years, and you have a pretty decent background, you're not really, you don't have like a really bad record, and you have either a parent, a spouse, or a child who is a US citizen or a green card holder who will suffer some serious hardship. The law doesn't say serious hardship. I'm doing this in a way that I think could help you to understand and dissect these concepts. So if you're a lawyer watching me, you know what it is. Okay. So just this isn't for you anyway, right? Or maybe it is. Maybe it is. But if you have you meet these certain requirements and you're in removal proceedings, deportation court, you might be eligible for cancellation of removal to get a 10-year green card before an immigration judge. All right. So that's where the being in America for a very long time really helps some people. So, how long have I been in the United States? Question number two. Question number three. Very big question. Very, very big question. You think I'd know the big question, right? I'm like, look at what relationships do you have? What relationships do you have? Guys, the relationship matters. Relationship either with a family member or an employer. Okay, because I'm grouping employers into the relationship category. What relationship do you have? Do you have a US citizen or a green card holder spouse, a US citizen parent or green card holder parent? Do you have an adult US citizen son or daughter? Do you have a US citizen sibling? Those are very important relationships to have. Because if you have one of those relationships, well, that person can start a process for you. Again, going back to how you entered into the United States, you won't be able to finish the process through this relationship, so to speak, if you entered unlawfully, unless again there are certain circumstances where you can still adjust your status and get it here. But for the most part, the relationship, particularly with a U.S. citizen spouse, makes a huge difference. Or if you have a US citizen son or daughter who's at least 21 years old, will make a huge difference as well. So this is for those of you who had sent your children ahead of you, your children, or your children were born here and you went back home and then eventually you found your way to America and your child grew up. This is, you can transition into adjustment of status if you had entered the United States with lawful status, lawfully. Now, I'm going to pause here and share with you how the relationship really makes a difference. And I'll share just a quick testimonial of our client who was here unlawfully for 23 years. 23 years. He entered without inspection 23 years ago, and he was here all these many years, and he was together with his US citizen wife for years as well. They came to us back in, I think, 2018 or yeah, and we filed their I-130 case. We advised them that adjustment of status just won't work because of how he entered, and he's going to try to get this green card through his wife. And so we did the I-130, we did the NVC visa center process, we did a waiver for him, which was required in his case. His waiver was approved. And then we prepared him for the embassy interview back in Honduras, and they left a couple of weeks ago, and he got his immigrant visa that way. So some people will be going through that back door, so to speak. And he's back here in the United States today with his green card, as a lawful permanent resident, okay? It happens that way for some people with the right relationships and who then trust the process that is in place through that back door to come back in the right way. And it worked out well for him, okay, and for her. They're a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful couple. I love them. They might even be watching now. I don't know. Um, so now the other relationship to pay attention to, friends, is the relationship. Employer relationship, because for some of you, you will be able to, for some, adjust your status through an employer. And you might even have the qualifications to get a green card on your own without an employer. But if you have an employer who wants to file for you, it's worth having that discussion with the employer and with an attorney who you trust, or the employer hires an attorney to see what's possible, at least to start something. For some of you, again, you might be able to transition directly into the green card process, adjustment of status through an employer. If you're just joining today's live session, this is just a workshop. This is unconventional, not planned. This is a discussion about your lawful status is ended. What should you do next? What are the solutions? Forget about the fear. Let the fear go. Watch what we're talking about in this one about solutions. Focus on what's possible. Okay. Now, the fourth question, I only have five. The fourth question is this. What are there humanitarian considerations? Anything on the humanitarian side that could be connected to a green card process? Okay, so what do I mean by that? Well, are you a victim? Have you been victimized here in the United States? Okay. Have you been victimized? Are you a victim of domestic violence, of through marriage to someone who's a U.S. citizen or a green card holder, or an undocumented person abused you who you were in a relationship with? Have you been hurt by some violent crime? Did something happen to you? Okay. Um, a pathway could potentially be opened up for you to transition from whatever you have right now, whether it's TPS that's ended or parole that's over or something that has ended for you. Hopefully, I don't know, you've been in America for just 2 years. Hopefully nothing bad has happened to you, but I'm a realist. Things do happen to people, to good people. So um, think about what has happened, but here in America, okay? Here on US soil. And also, if you're watching too, and maybe you're not in the US anymore, and you were a visitor, or you were here for a period of time and then you left. If you also was a victim while you were here on US soil, well, you might be eligible for a way to come back to America through a victim process that our system has created, so long as the crime occurred here in the United States while you were here. um, then there are other humanitarian considerations, right? On the employment side of things, the T visa, guys, the trafficking visa. For some people who they came to America and they were maybe brought here under a false pretense. They thought what they were promised one thing, then they got another thing as far as a job is concerned. Or for others, they were threatened and by let's see, hold on one second. Um, they were threatened, okay? Threatened by an employer. They had faced really bad work conditions. Why? Because they're an immigrant and they were taken disadvantage of, like what happens to so many immigrants. And maybe you as the immigrant, you're in that situation and you're thinking, well, this is just what I have. This is just a part of it. I have to go through this. I have to go through this. You don't have to go through that, okay? Speak with someone. You could speak with us about this type of problem. There might be a way for you to transition into that type of visa. The other humanitarian consideration, of course, is asylum. It is not the default. Some people will think that it is the default. It is not. That's why I didn't start with asylum. But if you have a real fear of returning home, and not just a fear of, oh, I'm fearful to go back home because I was in America, and then if I go back home, people are going to think that I have money or they're going to kidnap me because I was in America. That's not an asylum case, guys. Speak with a professional about a potential real claim for asylum. In your case, most likely, by the way, I do not like, just an FYI, I do not like that particular gift. Thank you for it. They give me the gift on TikTok, guys, with the mustache and the hats. Come on, come on. I don't like that particular one, but thank you anyway. But going back to asylum, you might have a real fear of going back home that is captured under our law. Then there might be a solution for some of you. Doesn't lead to a green card. Maybe on the health side, it's a humanitarian consideration. It's a temporary little fix here called medical deferred action. If there's a serious condition that you're facing or someone in your family close to you is facing, you might be able to put in a request for medical deferred action, right? That's a possibility for some people. And then the last question is truly about whether there are any short-term solutions to just to change your status, not lead into a green card, but just to change your status to go potentially to like a student visa, H visa, LOR, one of those visas. Okay. Thank you for your gifts on TikTok. I appreciate them. Are there any short-term solutions that you can transition to? Have that discussion with someone you know and trust who have experience with these kinds of visa options. So, friends, solutions. Think about the solutions. Don't think about the fear. Don't think about the breaking your car window and chasing you down. And don't think about any of that. Think about the solution. Educate yourself about what could be possible for you so that you could transition to a lawful permanent status in the United States. Focus on that solutions, not fear. All right. So those are some of the ideas I wanted to share with you today about adjustment of status is possible for some people to transition right into. Some people might be eligible for asylum. Some people might be eligible as a victim to still be able to stay here, get a work permit while their case is pending at USCIS. Some people are eligible for a short-term visa, temporary visa, change of status potentially. Some people are eligible for adjustment of status through an employer, right? Focus on the solution. Some people are eligible for cancellation of removal in immigration court, okay? So just don't be afraid. Obviously, the government will be um, resurrecting some of your removal cases that have been dormant for quite some time, right? Administratively closed, and you need to have a solution strategy in mind to tackle the removal case. All right. Fast track deportation applies only to individuals who have been in the United States for a very, very long time, short time, 2 years and under. But ALA says some people who are here a little longer than 2 years, you know, um, might are also being targeted for case dismissals and such. What if a coworker wants to, let's transition now to questions. What if a coworker threatening to threatening to call ICE on you? Wow. What if? Okay. So just keep in mind this, that um although we're seeing a whole lot of ICE activity in front of us on TikTok primarily and on YouTube, um there are only so many agents really out there at this time. They have not received that big influx of dollars yet from that big, beautiful bill. They're facing a huge shortfall right now, budget shortfall. They're running out of money. They have a lot of limitations, despite the fact that we're seeing so much activity online by the algorithm that's really pushing it out there in front of us every day, all day, right? But a little bit of that could be a little deceiving to some extent, right? Because if you're at your job, wherever you work, wherever you're located, you might not even be in a sanctuary city where that is really the big focus of ICE's attention at this time, to teach a lesson to sanctuary cities. They want sanctuary cities to buckle under the pressure, right? That's what they are trying to do. So if a coworker is saying, "Well, I'm just going to call ICE on you," well, yeah, so go ahead and do that, right? Because it doesn't mean that it's going to result in anything. Right? It doesn't mean that. And then you could also think about are they harassing you? Is this harassment? Because you might even have a U visa case based on harassment. Yeah, continue to threaten me, text me too. Here's my number. Threaten, you might have a U visa case. They might be doing you a favor. It depends on how they're doing it, okay? So document everything. And again, if they're harassing you, you might have a U visa case as a victim of a crime. Where am I? Okay. Let's go over to YouTube. We're talking about solutions today, not fear. Um, how can I help my mother? Let's get this on the screen. She came to the United States on a visitor visa and has overstayed. What should I do now? I have my oath ceremony in August. I think you know what to do, right? Once you become a US citizen, Magdalene, you'll be able to apply for her and she could adjust her status. Okay? If you've overstayed, can you change your status? For most people, the answer is actually no. Okay, you won't be able to do it. In most cases, it won't work to change your status. And then also keep in mind too the fact that for some people, they'll have to depart, leave the United States for an embassy process, and then they're triggering the 3-year bar or 10-year bar, depends on how long they've overstayed. So that's usually the big challenge that most people face. Is now a good time to file for citizenship? I believe so, and I've been saying that now is the time for naturalization. It's been really fast, really, really fast these days. Don't miss this window of opportunity. Also on the marriage filing side. Now, solutions, not fear, but I will say this as you're thinking about naturalization, know your history, know your history. And if there were significant mistakes or a significant mistake that was made in your green card approval process, speak with an attorney before you apply for naturalization, okay? Do it that way. We're talking about solutions today, not fear. Hey there. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Okay, let's keep going. Let's go back over to, let's get into this, that forum. My friend's daughter is 26. This is from Facebook. My friend's daughter is 26 years old. With some mental illness. Can she file for her daughter? Yes, she could file for her daughter. Absolutely. Um, uh, with her US citizenship or even her green card, she could file for her daughter. All right. Double tap the screen. We're talking solutions today, not fear, immigration solutions. Um, if you questions about our consultation fee and such, you could go to McBeanlaw.com where you'll see information about our consultation fees. Okay. Uh, Here's a very important question. What if your husband withdrew the case at the interview? Guys, for many people back in the day, um, you'd walk right out of that place, that USCIS office, and you'll get a denial letter. The denial letter may or may not go into certain details about what led to the withdrawal of the case, and USCIS would just file it away, and that's it. You go about your business and you live your life. For other people, USCIS will not let it go, and they will issue a notice to appear in court. Today, however, we're getting an uptick, guys, on our docket of people who are being arrested at their USCIS interview, and also people who are being arrested at immigration court. Not with them directly are we meeting with, because they're in detention. So in the very beginning, we're meeting with the wife, the husband, the girlfriend, the boyfriend, who they're scared, frantic, and they're contacting us, and we're acting swiftly in those cases. And in some of the cases that we're now seeing, when I say now, I mean like in the last 2 weeks, it's just been an uptick. Are people who are going on even on these marriage green card interviews, and the government is thinking that they were committed marriage fraud, or they've lied in the past about some things, and then they're detaining some people at the interview. Not everyone, but we're seeing that on our docket now. So we're working on those kinds of cases. So if you're in a situation where you have an interview coming up and your spouse is acting up, as you would say, then you've got to think twice about what your strategy is. Because if you go into that interview and he or she withdraws the case, it will raise a flag to immigration, and it could be detrimental for your case. So speak with someone about what's going on, and before the spouse withdraws, okay? My lawyer said I need a co-sponsor, or that's well, this person says a co-signer, but I know what she means. A joint sponsor is there another option? My husband is a citizen. So, when you're going through a green card process through a relative, the government wants to make sure that um, you won't be a public charge, that you'll be taken care of financially by the petitioner. And if the petitioner's income is not enough, well, the other option is to look at assets. And if that doesn't, you guys don't have anything, or the petitioner doesn't have anything that could meet the threshold for assets, well, a joint sponsor is needed. Joint sponsor, unless you had been working using income that was earned during during your a period of time with your work permit, with a work permit. Okay. All right, let's keep going. I feel so energized today. All right. It's Saturday. We're having a workshop discussion and Q&A session about solutions. By the way, Instagram, I'm not sure what's going on. I don't see any questions popping up. I do see people are there. If you are asking questions on Instagram, just know I'm not able to see it. You might want to jump over to TikTok, Facebook, or YouTube. Okay. Now let's keep going. Let me scroll down. What if you just got your green card through marriage? Is it safe to travel right now? Adrian is asking. Yes, Adrian, it is safe to travel with your green card that you obtained through marriage recently. Okay. Double tap the screen on TikTok. We're talking about solutions. If your lawful status is ending very soon, you've got to think about solutions. Don't think about fear. Think about solutions. Um, Can you please explain the I-601 waiver with the National Visa Center? So I am live everywhere right now. Just an FYI, okay? Okay, so can you explain the I-601 waiver with the NVC process, National Visa Center process? So now, okay, here's how it works. If you have an inadmissibility problem, okay? Inadmissibility problem. Um, that in it that prob or if yeah, if you have that type of problem can only be addressed at the US embassy level after they've interviewed you. They have to interview you and make a determination that you need a waiver to address this problem. Not you know, if you're here, let's say for instance, you're here in the United States and you have the only problem on your record is unlawful presence, right? Unlawful presence, nothing else. Well, that's an I-601A waiver that can be filed. However, if you have unlawful presence that's going to hit you if you left the United States, in addition to fraud, that is on your record or misrepresentation, you use a fraudulent passport, a passport not in your name to come into the United States. Well, you can't do an I-601A waiver. You'd have to go straight to the visa center and to the embassy, and the embassy will cite you for those issues, and then you file an I-601, and then you'll have to wait in your home country until it's approved. And that's the part that some of you really don't like, the fact that, oh, wait, you're telling me that I've got to wait up to a year back in my home country while I wait for the 601 waiver to be approved. And I'm saying, yeah, you will. You will. Have to wait until it's approved. And once approved, the embassy will release that visa for you. Okay. So that's the I-601 with the National Visa Center connected. That's that's how it works. I hope that helped you. All right. Hey there, Simon. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, great question. I have a pending adjustment of status application with an approved I-130 from a U.S. citizen spouse. Am I at risk for fast track deportation? Trish is asking. Trish, I don't believe so. No, you're not at risk for fast track expedited removal. No, you're not. And in fact, even the government tells you this, that I forget where they say this at though, but they do say that that if you're, if you have something, this is part of their Leave Now campaign. They had some language really recently in their Leave Now campaign language stating that if you're those who don't have to leave now are those who are going through a lawful status, such as you, Trish, with adjustment of status, and your parole is ending. You don't have to leave now. You have a right to wait for a decision by USCIS on that application. Okay. All right. Let's keep going. If someone is here in the United States for over 30 years with no record, can they fast track to citizenship um, without a green card? So Fiona, that would be so wonderful, right? Like, forget about the green card. I've put in my time here in America. It's been over 30 years. I don't need a green card. Just give me citizenship, right? Woo, that would be beautiful. I'd love that. That would be amazing. Let's go. Let's see. For any questions about eligibility with joining the military, that I won't be able to answer those questions. Can I travel outside of the United States after 6 months after receiving my green card? Yes, of course. Just don't stay outside of the key with the green card and travel is this, guys. Don't stay outside of the United States longer than 6 months. Otherwise, you're going to face some extra scrutiny at the airport when you return. Don't travel. This is updated advisory from me. Don't travel if you have a criminal record. I'm not even going to get into the nuances of how long ago it was committed, what type of record, what type of crime. I'm not even going to even get into those details anymore. I'm just saying in a very blanket way, don't travel outside of the United States on your green card if you have a criminal record in the United States. Those are the two big ones. And certainly don't travel outside of the United States if you're in removal proceedings and you have a green card right now. If you're a resident and you're going through a removal process, don't travel. All right? Say, I get it now. Please type in, I get it now. And I will never ask any more green card travel questions ever again to McBean. I get it now. I understand. Just say, I get it. Get it now. All right, let's talk about solutions to today. If you filed an I-601A waiver, do you have to file I-485? Well, if you're no, because if you file the I-601A waiver, that means you are slated, you are headed to the U.S. Embassy abroad. You're consular processing. You're not trying to stay here and adjust your status through the I-485 process. Okay? But, that happens a lot. That's an immigration mistake. That's very, very common. We're talking about immigration solutions today on this Saturday. Immigration solutions. Okay, not fear, solutions. If you're losing your status very soon, focus on solutions. What can I do next? What can I do next? What can I do? What can I do? What can I do? That's all that should be going on in your mind right now. What can I do next? How do I do it? How? When my mother came to the United States in the early 1980s, she said, the only thing I could think about was how do I get a green card? That's what you should be thinking about right now. That's it. How can I get a green card? Okay. Um, all right, let's go. Um, I'm a US citizen and my husband has decided to go back to his country, Michelle said. Some people are doing that, Michelle. And we've even had some clients say the same thing, that they're leaving. And we were like, oh, we don't want you to go in this manner, but it's their decision. Their decision. They want peace. And they feel that that's how they're going to achieve it. Let me go somewhere else where I could achieve that peace. And I respect that decision, okay? It's theirs to make. All right, let's go, guys. Freedom now, as we talk about solutions today. How long does it take to adjust your status through a U.S. citizen sibling? Fiona is asking. So, Fiona, that's a very difficult process. I will tell you this because first of all, it takes 13 to 15 years for this sibling process to even come to an end, so to speak. And the very question that faces people in the sibling category who have overstayed here in the United States is, how can I keep a lawful status during that entire time? Because that's how you'll be able to adjust your status. And for most people, practically speaking, they can't hold on to a lawful status for that long, right? So that's where it becomes a little tricky. It becomes a little tricky unless, well, I was going to say unless, they had spent some years outside of their country before coming here, then they come here, maybe they're on an F visa, and they're here for years as a student. There's ways of making it work, but the big key there is staying in lawful status the entire time. And if you're able to achieve that, then you could adjust your status. Otherwise, it just won't work for adjustment of status. All right. All right. What questions do you guys have on this side of the room? Hello, hello, hello. We're talking about solutions, immigration solutions today. Yeah, my TPS ends in August and I have an I-130 pending through a green card holder spouse. Okay, so Remy, TPS is ending in August for Haitians, okay? I'm assuming you might have TPS through Haiti. That's ending, guys. I don't see how they're going to keep that going, okay? So now, solution. This person has an I-130 in process, but a green card holder spouse. What I think you should do is have an immigration attorney assess your green card holder spouse for naturalization. When will that person likely be eligible for naturalization? Because that will be the turning point for you. to be able to do adjustment of status. Can't do it before then, most likely, because of the going out of status in August problem. And the fact that that F2A category, um, has a little backlog for visa availability. Okay. Um, and then also it depends too on when they filed for you. That's an important detail too. So an immigration attorney will assess that fully when that spouse had filed for you and how soon close you are um, to wrapping things up. But your I-130 is still just pending, not even approved yet. Okay. Freedom Now, thank you for your gifts. I appreciate them on TikTok. Very nice. Thank you. I was actually supposed to film a couple of other videos today, but I felt led to do this instead. All right, let's go. Let's talk solutions. Immigration solutions. Stateless people. Someone is asking that. How about stateless people? Now, stateless folks. Some people might say, and they've said this to me too during consultations, oh, I'm not worried about being deported because I'm stateless. They can't prove my nationality. And, I went to this embassy and this embassy said, no, we don't know you. We're not issuing a passport to you. You're not our people, right? And you feel a sense of, at least I could stay in America. And ICE is not going to deport me because of this problem of, who I am and all of that, my nationality and such. Honestly, they found a way around that, right? We see what's going on. They found a way around that by entering into contracts with foreign countries saying, well, can you take these foreigners off our hands? Right? Then there's also Guantanamo Bay, Cuba, which is just supposed to be a temporary holding place while they process folks for deportation. But now, under this expanded travel ban proposal of 36 additional countries who will have 60 days to get it together, otherwise they're going to face a ban. Part of that is some sort of like quid pro quo, so to speak. If you, Nigeria, enter into a third country agreement with us, something like that, by accepting some deportees from America, well, we will not put you on a travel ban list. Take them off our hands, kind of thing. So I don't know. I mean, that's how I think they've worked out that issue, right? So we'll just see. Yes, there are court cases. I think there's an injunction on sending foreigners to the third country and all of that. I haven't really tracked that case. But I do know it is a civil rights issue that attorneys are litigating, of course. All right. Okay. Thank you, guys. By the way, when we're finished with this live session, you should expect that scammers will most likely be contacting you through DM and otherwise with my face, my name, all of that, but it is not me. I will not be texting anyone after today's broadcast. So if that does happen to you, just know that it is a scammer. It is not McBean Law texting you or DMing you on any platform. We are not doing that. I am not doing that, okay? I tell you, that the scam is real, and some of you get so excited to think that I'm texting you and you send thousands of dollars to scammers. It is not me. Please, please know that I'm not doing that. All right? Can't emphasize that enough. It's not me. Okay. Good evening, good evening. Hello, hello. Uh, you're very welcome, Trish. What about VAWA? Can they be deported? Well, where are you with your VAWA case? Where are you? Big issue. Has your case been approved? Are you in line for a green card through VAWA? Have you committed a crime recently or in the past? Guys, I'm telling you, this whole criminal thing, it's a big issue, big issue for people. Um, Keep in mind, please, that on the naturalization application, there is a question that asks you, have you ever committed a crime? Okay? For which you were never even arrested, you weren't caught. That question is getting people in trouble today because people have been lying on the N400 saying, nope, I've never committed a crime. Never committed a crime for which I wasn't arrested for. And now they're facing some very serious problems. And for those of them who had gotten citizenship after saying, nope, I've never committed a crime for which I've never been arrested for, they're now facing automatic revocation of their naturalization automatically, in addition to prison time. Not just revocation, but prison time, because they could face up to 10 years in prison. 10 years, unless they have a crime also connected to terrorism or drug trafficking, then we're talking about up to 25 years in prison for naturalization fraud. Okay? Yes. That's what it's called. You guys could go Google that tonight. Naturalization fraud. That's the subject of my next YouTube video that I filmed earlier for you guys. Um, is driving without a license a crime? Yeah. I mean, you're not supposed to do that, right? And if you do that in certain states, they will actually arrest you in certain states. Okay. All right. Um, all right. I'll answer a super chat question from Hanan. He says that my mom is a U.S. citizen. She petitioned for my sister and the kids, F11, from Yemen. Their case is completed and they have an interview on July 31st. Um, should they go to the interview or is it going to be rescheduled? So Yemen, you've got to remind me. I think Yemen is on that travel ban list, right? I think it is. I don't remember. I don't have that list in front of me right now. But my understanding is that folks will not be getting their visa to come to the United States, the immigrant visa, from if they are part of the 19 countries. There are 12 that are facing full suspension, and then 7 that are facing partial ban. And unless they are an immediate relative of a U.S. citizen, those individuals are coming in. Um, I don't know how old. I don't even know. Honestly, I don't know the category there, how old they are, but if they're immediate relatives, they will get through. Others will not get through. Okay. Um, I got my citizenship last year. Will I lose it? You will probably not lose your citizenship. Um, you will not lose your citizenship. But again, the big key that the government is honing in on to get around the lengthy, long denaturalization process is who has committed naturalization fraud on the criminal side that we could go after. And sometimes what happens is this: when an individual is finally caught by um, by whatever federal law enforcement agency catches them in whatever the crime is, right? And they're going through their criminal proceedings. And then, of course, now the fact that this person was naturalized becomes important, and the U.S. Attorney's Office checks in, I believe. I don't know. I don't work for them, but I used to work with the government, so I kind of have a sense of maybe how this is how it would go. Checks in with them, say, hey, we have this person on all these counts related to some drug issue or some fraud issue. $80 million. We got him in wire fraud and this and that type of fraud. We found out he's a naturalized citizen from this other country. What do you guys have on him? Then USCIS digs back, looks at that N-400 application and say, oh, he once told us no to the question, have you ever committed a crime for which you have never been arrested for? And now what we see in the court papers and from you, U.S. Attorney's Office, that he committed these crimes during this period of time. But wait a minute. He applied for naturalization after he did commit those crimes, and he told us no. Naturalization fraud, criminal charge, 10 years in prison. No lengthy denaturalization proceedings, automatic revocation of citizenship. That's what they're looking at. So for the average person like you who asked me about naturalization, I don't think you have anything to worry about. But the ones who are on the radar today are the ones who the U.S. Attorney's Office have on other types of crime. And then they realize that this person naturalized. So then they share information. This thing is deep, guys. Deep. That's how they're doing it. And let's see. Let's check out some data here. Give me a second, please. Is it this way or is it that way? Wow. Okay. Thank you guys for joining. We're talking about immigration solutions today, okay? Immigration solutions, not fear. Get smart about immigration. If any of you remember when that was my thing, be smart about immigration. Let me know in the comments. I remember that. Smart about immigration. I used to say that all the time. That was my little thing. Get smart about immigration. We've got to go back to that. Get smart. Yemen is on the full ban list. Thank you for sharing that. Sister is 40 years old. She's not going to get the visa, okay? The embassy will contact or maybe cancel that interview, or they might even advance her all the way up to the interview and then let her know that unfortunately, due to the ban, you will not be able to get this visa to come to the United States. I see that super chat information. Thank you for filling in the gaps for me. Thank you. Okay. Let's see. I'm a US citizen and I married my wife since 2017. She got her I-130 approved. She has TPS. I-130 approved. She's never been paroled to travel outside of the United States and come back. She came into the United States illegal. Okay, so this goes back to one of the the first question that we talked about earlier. How did you enter the United States? So here you have someone who entered illegally. She's married to a U.S. citizen. She has an approved I-130 family petition. She has TPS, which granted her lawful status during this time. I don't know what country she's from, but TPS is ending for pretty much most of the countries. And so if her TPS ends, the question is, well, what's next for her? So for her, she will need to consular process. Okay, so she's going to need a waiver. You're going to have to get her case over to the visa center firstly, though. The I-130, the approved I-130 will need to go over to the visa center, and then she's going to have to consular process if she intends on finishing the process through you. Because he said she entered illegally. That's the key there. Illegal entry. Okay. Birthright citizenship. I'm seeing a question here about that. So we don't yet have, there's no decision yet on the matter of birthright citizenship. Children born today are still born here in the United States to undocumented parents are U.S. citizens. I do not have any news about DACA at this time. Any good news to share on DACA? There are a few immigration attorneys on TikTok, on the app, who share a lot of information on DACA it's very hard for me to keep up with everything. Let's see. Asylum, asylum case has been referred to immigration court. What should I do next? So I really hope that you have a good asylum case because the government has been has been cutting short asylum folks due process in immigration court by dismissing the case, dismissing the notice to appear, and all of that. Some immigration judges have been agreeing to the dismissal, and then these people are being arrested right outside of the courtroom. What you should do next is make sure you have a good lawyer who could look at your asylum case in a truthful way and tell you whether it has any merit or not. And you'll have your first master hearing coming up in which you'll answer some basic questions and then another hearing date will be set. But again, hopefully you have a good asylum case because if DHS makes an argument about the fact that, oh, there's nothing here, and then it's that type of courtroom where they're going to say, oh, okay, I don't see any, let's just get this one off the docket, then you will be in trouble. So, so you really need to lawyer up, okay, to look at that case. And just so you know, the lawyers, yes, we see the lawyers in a very passive way outside of the courtroom when their client is being arrested and they're just saying things like, you have the right to remain silent, remember your rights, blah, blah, blah. Um, and it looks very passive, and people are upset online saying, why do you need a lawyer? Why do you need a lawyer? And they go after lawyers. They start bashing like nothing else. And you have to remember that no lawyer is going to obstruct justice and try to interfere. Okay. I almost tripped on my flip-flop here, like that elephant in that video, that little baby elephant. Yeah, you guys saw that video? The baby elephant tried to charge in South Africa the tourist and tripped in the middle of the street. That was the cutest thing ever. I love that video. But the lawyer isn't going to put his hand or her hand in the way that the lawyer doesn't want to be arrested. The lawyer doesn't want any problems on his or her record of that nature. So the lawyer knows, okay, we have to take this fight on paper. We got to fight on paper, administrative fight, right? Once the client is arrested by ICE, reach out to the client, speak to the client. We do have a way to speak to detainees, speak to the client, and figure out a way forward. Is there a bond? Will ICE set a bond or not? Is there a motion for a bond that's going to be needed at some point? You know, there are things that are needed, right? And when a client is detained, but it truly just depends on the facts. But for most of what we're seeing, those individuals are facing fast track expedited removal. So there has to be swift action. Is there a motion for a stay of removal? I mean, things like that are needed right away. And those are things that happens behind the scenes that you won't see the lawyer doing. You'll just see the lawyer standing there saying you have the right to, just be silent, blah, blah, blah. And it appears on your end like it's so passive and what's the point? But the true fight happens on paper, behind the scenes, administratively. And for some of those people, they are released. Um, and then for others, they're removed in a very swift way, like 24 hours later. Okay, so it truly all depends on the facts. All right, divorce while I-751 is pending. Then got approved without sending waiver. What's going to happen? So this person says that this is a 751 removal of conditions case. You divorced before the approval and you did not send or update them about the divorce. I'm not sure if that's what you're asking, but if it is, that's a private discussion that you need to have maybe with us or whoever you choose to meet with. I'm not sure if that's what you're saying, but my mind goes there. Why? Because those are the types of cases we see from time to time. How long does it take for a motion to reopen to um, be decided on? It depends on where it went, right? If it went to the BIA, it could be years, 3 years, maybe. It's getting longer. The wait is getting longer at the BIA because they're seeing a lot more motion to reopen. I tell you guys, I was looking at before coming live today, I was looking at our recent docket and looking at all of the new cases that we've been taking on to get a sense of what's going on, what's happening, what kinds of cases are being approved by the supervisors, and what, all of that. And I tell you, there are a lot of motion to reopen. We have a lot of that going on. Sui sponte motion to reopen. For some people, it's to the immigration court to rescind a removal order that was issued in their absence. A whole lot of that is happening now on our docket. And then people are being arrested at interviews. And so we're taking all these detainee cases, a whole lot of that. Okay. Good luck to you who you're waiting to find out which law school you're going to be going to. Very exciting. Very exciting. Do we offer consultations on the weekends? So I do them bi-weekly. Yes, bi-weekly. We've opened up that option again, bi-weekly at this time. So can you talk about the travel ban? So I have a video out there on YouTube about a couple of videos on the travel ban. I don't have all of the details and countries here in front of me on this Saturday, but what I will say about it is that they wrote a very strong travel ban that will most likely hold up in court because it includes all of these exceptions in there, and waivers are included in it and such. But there are 19 countries currently on a ban list. It went into effect, was it last week, I think? Might have been last week, Monday. And if you had a visa this is what's different about this one versus the earlier bans under Trump 1.0, you'll still be able to use your visa to enter into the United States if your visa was approved before the ban went into effect, even if you're from one of those fully suspended countries. So it's a very tightly written travel ban. Okay. Let's see, immigration solutions today on this Saturday. If I were to travel on my 10-year green card back home to the Caribbean, will I be able to re-enter America? Yes, just don't stay out longer than 6 months. You still will be able to come in if you stayed out, by the way, longer than 6 months. It's just that it's going to be a bit of a hassle at the airport. I live in Los Angeles. Do you have an office here? Jerry is asking. No, we do not have an office there. We have clients in all over California, Jerry. We work virtually with our clients nationwide. Um, and we're here in New York. This is the only office that we have, actually, a physical office, but we are working everywhere virtually. Virtually. Thank you for trusting us, by the way, to do that, because I know it's a big deal. It's a very big deal. I don't take it for granted that you're in LA thinking about maybe working with a New York lawyer. That's a big deal because you're not here to maybe see how short I am, right? And look me in the eyes. It takes a whole lot of trust. And I don't take that for granted. So thank you for those of you who have trusted us over the years to work with us virtually. Um, a lot of green card holder questions. Green card holders, you're fine with your travel. Stick with those travel tips that I've been giving you as of late. If you have a criminal record, the only update that I have now that I'm really speaking about these days is if you have a criminal record of any kind, you shouldn't travel right now. Wait and think until things really die down, okay? And if you have a 2-year green card, you could also travel. Don't do it if you're in removal, however. Any news about the U visa? No, not at this time. Um, So for the R visa, what's going to be beneficial, not so much that the 360 has been approved. You've got to make sure that you meet the qualifications at the U.S. Embassy level during that time, that renewal. Do you need a consultation first with us? Yes. We have a new process in place for case evaluations where by you can meet with a non-attorney. It's $150, and you'll go through an evaluation process to really determine whether you might have an immigration case or not. If you have any complex issues and you do have a case, then you're going to need to meet with one of the attorneys to discuss it further before we could start a contract with you. How do you check if you're in removal? You check if you're in removal, and I'm going to pull this up here. I don't know what, kind of wish I had a preview before I get started with this. The way that you know whether you're in removal or not is by calling this 800 number. I've pulled it up here on YouTube, but it's 800-898-7180, and have your alien number ready, and it'll tell you whether they have any record for you or not. Or you can just Google EOIR case, maybe just those two, and then the website with the automated system will pop up. You put in your A number, and then it'll tell you details about whether you're in removal, and if so, when your hearing date is coming up, and the location of the court, and those types of details. If you're not in court, it'll say no A number is found for you at this time. Oh, right. Can you repeat the website? Just type in Google EOIR case, and then it'll pop up top search results. Judge Murphy has an injunction on third country deportation. Trump is challenging it to SCOTUS, waiting for the verdict. Thank you for that update. Put on a shirt. Don't like the pictures without a shirt on it. And okay, let's see. I'm a U.S. citizen. Did I answer this one already? I applied for my mom to adjust her status. The I-130 is not approved yet. Should I file an asylum case in order for her to be safe while she is waiting? An asylum case could very well mess things up for her. Um, uh, I don't know what what the problem is. Why would you even think asylum? She's going through adjustment of status, so just wait. Wait, Miss Antoine. Wait. All right. She's eligible to adjust her status through you potentially if she entered the United States lawfully. All right. How long does VAWA take? It still takes 3 years from what I understand. Things are moving fast these days with immigration, of course. But I believe VAWA is still on a three-year cycle. If you missed the beginning of the discussion where I went through some solutions, you'll be able to watch the replay on McBean Immigration TV and on Instagram. We'll repost this, and I believe on Facebook too. Someone says here through Super Chat that I entered through the border in 2022 and filed for asylum. Okay. I have my EAD. It's been approved. It was approved in 2023, but no court date ever. What do I do? Um, so what I'm wondering is whether you're one of those many thousands who fell through the cracks from the standpoint of there was an additional administrative step that was required to place you in removal and it didn't happen. So it looks like you might just be going through an affirmative process um, through USCIS. So you have your work permit, and I believe you're going to have to just wait until you get an interview by them. But a whole lot of people fell through the cracks from an administrative process. Whew, starting to get warm in here. Um, you guys know that's my cue. That's my cue. I'm going to be leaving you soon. Okay. Is it difficult to get citizenship right now? No, it's actually not. Surprisingly, it's not. If you're eligible for it, if you're eligible for it, it's not difficult. It's fast too now. Are you a target for ICE if you have an I-751 divorce waiver pending? Okay. The removal of conditions waivers before USCIS, and the case is still pending after an interview for over 2 years. Also, can I file for citizenship? So, if I understand the facts correctly here, you filed your 751 case with USCIS. It's a waiver because of divorce, and you interviewed with them, and you haven't heard anything from them, and it's been over 2 years. Um, I think that they're doing a deep dive into how you got the green card to begin with, the 2 years that they granted you. Something's going on there. I think you should speak with maybe us. We work on those types of cases all the time. We'll have to get your records from immigration, ask you some personal questions, tough questions, and then gear up for what's next. But I think something's going on if you've been waiting 2 years post-interview in an I-751 case. Do I have that right? Yeah, you should let's speak one-on-one. Okay, let's see. Let me check. Someone is asking on Facebook, is it necessary to have a lawyer when I file for my citizenship? Susie is asking, so Susie, you might just have a very straightforward naturalization case in which you don't need an attorney to work on the form for you. However, take a look at the form. Here's what I will say. Take a look at the form. Take a look at all of the questions, all questions. And if a question stands out to you, and from the standpoint of you're wondering what does it actually really mean, right? And you're concerned about, if I say yes to this or if I say no to this one, what will happen? If you have those types of concerns, then speak with an attorney, have a consultation with one, and maybe through that consultation, your questions might be answered. Or if through that consultation, more issues, deeper issues come up, then you might want to turn the case over to an attorney to address those other issues. I think that's the best answer I've ever given to that question about whether I need an attorney for naturalization. Let's go, guys. Sometimes you've got to hype yourself up. You've got to say to yourself once in a while, you want to stay humble as well. Good job. Oh, I like that one. I like what I did there. You've got to do that from time to time, guys. Very important. Because when you have so much negative energy being directed your way because of what you're doing, you've got to say, oh, good answer, Latoya. I like that one. You guys have no idea what I face with respect to how bold I am with being here to help you right now. Okay, let's go. Remember, guys, that there are people here who are answering your questions who are scammers as well. So be aware that they might appear to be nice and helping you out right now in the comments, but just know that it might go south later on. So be careful. And also, if you're asking legal questions and they're answering it, be careful how you act on those answers, okay? If I make an appointment with you, what's the easiest way that I can get help? I won't know that, Yvonne, and we've got to learn a little bit more about you. You'll fill out an intake form for us to see if you have an immigration case for which we could help you with, okay? Let's see. Can I adjust my status? My spouse is a green card holder, and I filed my I-130 in 2020. So it just, have you continuously maintained a lawful status since you've been here in the United States? That's really going to determine whether you could adjust your status, and you're going to have to prove that you've been in lawful status for the entire time. The entire time. That's the key there with a green card holder spouse. Best to try to adjust your status when that person becomes a U.S. citizen. All right, so here we go. I gotta sit. This is in reference to the new video that I filmed today about naturalization fraud, a criminal offense, 10 years in prison, and automatic revocation of citizenship. This question says, I got my citizenship after I got a pardon for drugs. I told the agent about it. I disclosed it. They have my records. Can they revoke my citizenship? So in this instance, I don't think so. I really don't think so. What's key here is what is on that N-400. When did you commit the crime? What's on the N-400? Did you misrepresent on the N-400? Did you knowingly make false statements on the N-400? That's what's key. And if the government knows your full history and they said yes to you, then you're not the one that they're looking for with respect to naturalization fraud on the criminal side, 10 years in prison. Unless drug trafficking is involved, in which case that could be 25 years in prison. All right? Okay. I hope that was helpful. Go down. I think they just turned off the air. Just turned it off. Can someone be arrested at a biometrics appointment? I still haven't seen that happen yet. It's been happening at USCIS interviews. It's been happening at ICE check-ins. It's been happening at immigration court proceedings. It's been happening everywhere else, Home Depot and everywhere else. I have not seen it happen at a biometric appointment. And let me know also in the days ahead in comments and such whether you're seeing that, you're hearing about that happening, and let me know what city you've heard about that happening. Okay, I don't know. I haven't heard about that taking place at biometrics appointments. Thank you guys for being with me this evening. We're talking immigration solutions today. Okay, let's see. Thank you for the gifts. I appreciate it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Today is about solutions, not about fear. That is the point of all of this. Solutions, not fear. Let's see. These questions are coming in so fast. Um, I have a green card and I filed the I-130 for my husband, but his country is partially banned. Can he get the visa? So, unfortunately, no, not during the time of the ban. But just keep in mind with the ban, remember that, wow, is it 60 days? So in the ban, it says that after 90 days, this government is going to do an assessment. Remember that? An assessment of each country to determine whether they still need to be on this ban. So it's very well possible that one or two or so the ban might be lifted for certain countries. And then they're supposed to do it every 6 months, I believe, after that, something like that. But there is a 90 days after within 90 days, they have to reevaluate, do an assessment. So hopefully they will lift the ban for some countries, of course. Any update on TPS for Haiti? No, Alexandra. What I did say earlier is that this administration is unfairly targeting Haitians, and I do believe TPS for Haiti is ending in August, and I do believe that they're going to target Haitians for deportation. They've already added Haiti to the full ban list, which makes zero sense, but that's what they've done. They have this hate, I think. That's what I'm calling it. They have this feeling that they just that is so obvious and is so unfair. So I really think that they're gonna let it end in August. There is litigation still pending, and this both sides are making their argument during this the time of litigation. But I really think that unfortunately it's gonna go away. Friends, I am also leaving. Okay. It's time to end today's broadcast. Thank you so much for being with me on this unplanned live session. I hope you found it valuable. Just keep in mind, again, the questions, the solutions, that solutions are available for some people as your lawful status is ending. Stay focused on solutions, getting smart about immigration, knowing what your options are. Don't focus on the fear. Tune that out. Focus on the issues ahead, right? How did I enter the United States? How long have I been here? What relationships do I have? Are there any humanitarian considerations about me that could lead to a green card? Are there any short-term solutions to change my status? These are the issues and questions that we went over earlier, to think about solutions to adjust your status or to apply for asylum, maybe. Asylum, again, very tricky. Don't do it just to do it. T visa, U visa, employment visas. There are things that are out there that could allow you to transition safely into a longer term status. The key, I'm just going to throw the key is staying focused on information and solution and not the fear. Thanks so much for being with me. I will be back on Monday, God willing, right? Monday at 1 o'clock p.m. Eastern time to do a Q&A session on YouTube and Facebook. So join me on McBean Immigration TV on Monday. Thank you so much. For being with me. Again, do not text anyone in DMs. I'm not going to be texting you. Do not believe that it is me. It is not me. I'm going to actually probably go grab some dinner right now after this. So do not text anyone, even those in the comments who are helping you. They're going to dive right into your DM. Stay away from them because there is an agenda, okay? So be careful. Do your homework. Do your research. And thanks again for being with me. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.